welcome back to Study on Spotlight, and today we have two special guests from Tasmania. So it's Stuart from the Hutchins School and Deb from St. Michael's Collegiate. Welcome to.
Hi Jade, thanks for having us.
Great. Would you like to introduce yourself and your schools as well? Where is it about and how big is the size and anything about the school?
Absolutely.
Hi, so I'm Deb Williamson and I'm the Deputy Principal of St Michael's Collegiate School. We're based in the centre of Hobart, Tasmania, a beautiful part of the world. We are an all-girls school and we work with Hutchins, who's an all-boys school. We feel that we've got the beauty of both worlds, single-sex education, but cooperating and working together. Collegiate has about 700 students from early learning right through to year 12. We have 24 boarders currently, 10 of those international, and the remainder are local boarders, which means that students who come to the school are to board, they get to speak English a lot.
Great.
Yeah, Jade, so Stuart Hammond, I'm the registrar at the Hutchins School, so I look after all of the enrolments, both international and local. So our school's about 5 minutes from the city centre of Hobart in a suburb called Sandy Bay, which is exactly where the University of Tasmania is, and we actually share a border with the University of Tasmania as well. So we've got 1,070 students from pre-kinder right through to the end of year 12. The breakup is our senior school is years 9 to 12 and our middle school is years 6, 7 and 8. And we've roughly got 110 students in each year level from year 7 through to the end of year 12. In our boarding house, we've currently got 36 students. We've got 16 international students from Hong Kong, mainland China, Timor-Leste, Iran and Sri Lanka, and 20 local students from different parts of Tasmania. So that's currently how the setup is.
Great. So one special question that I've got asked quite a lot. So what's the earliest age or youngest age that student can board at your school?
Same at both our schools, really year 7 going into, but if they had a sibling at the school, we would consider year 6.
Okay, the youngest one will be year 6.
Yeah,
if
so that's the same with our locals. Our locals, the youngest is year 6.
Right.
So preference is international from year 7, but if they had an older sibling, as Deb said, we look at that
we
as
would
well.
consider that.
Okay, that's a bit special comparing to other states in Australia as well.
Absolutely.
Right. So tell me about why students should consider studying in Tasmania then.
Right, well, Tasmania offers a unique and enriching study experience combining world-class education with a pristine natural environment that's world-renowned. So a lot of people travel to Tasmania for our outdoor environment. St Michael's Collegiate and Hutchins School provide excellent, exceptional academic opportunities in a very safe and welcoming dynamic setting. So it's a very safe environment, Hobart. It's not as busy as Melbourne and Sydney, which means the students are free to go into town and walk around and go into Sandy Bay, where they have can buy bubble tea.
Ooh, they have bubble tea.
Bubble tea.
Okay.
Great restaurants.
Well, that's very important.
Yeah, very important information.
But how big is the community in Hobart, like the population size?
So there's 260,000 people who live in Hobart.
okay.
So it's got a vibrant city with heaps of restaurants and cafes and arts and culture and sporting events. So there's always enough happening. But on the other side of it too, Jade, it's this amazing remote island, which is very much Australia's hidden treasure, with breathtaking landscape. So 40% of our island is national park. We've got the cleanest air in the world, so it's great for healthy living. We've got walking tracks, we've got mountain biking tracks, beaches pretty much within walking distance of the school. So, which promotes that great balance between learning and being in touch with the environment as well. We've got some of the world's best beaches. In fact, one of our beaches was recently rated one of the best in the world, so the Bay of Fires beach. And there's so many things that the students can do, and as Deb said, they can walk around at night and feel safe. Our local area, Sandy Bay from Hutchins, is about a 5-minute walk, and there's everything that a student would need there as well.
So are the student, is the is the curriculum also involve like all these like outdoor activities like in the program to allow students to enjoy this kind of experience?
Very much.
Absolutely. So we follow the Australian curriculum, but obviously there's a lot of co-curricular activities which are linked through the curriculum as well.
Right.
And we've both got amazing outdoor education programs as well, which flow right through the school, because we're really lucky because everything's really there on our doorstep.
So can you talk about a bit more the outdoor education program? So how does that work? Is that for every year group or? Was that specific?
At Collegiate, it's similar to Hutchins. Every year group has even right down to grade 3, our little children, have an outdoor education enrichment program, which means they might do bike days, they might do hikes, because we're just right by the mountains, so we go up to the mountain and do hiking. We've got river rafting, we've got abseiling. It's the Cradle Mountain Walk, which is world renowned. A lot of people fly into Hobart or Tasmania to do that challenge. So, and Hutchins have a Year 9 program, and we have a Year 9 program. We also have 10 Connect program where our Year 10 students can go out. They have the opportunity across both schools to travel internationally and nationally to do different things. They usually go in and give service back to different communities. I think you do. Is it Fiji? You do?
Yes, we have similar. We have outdoor ed programs every year from Year 2, and it sort of culminates in Year 9 with what we call our Power of 9 program. And for any of the families that might be interested, there's a lot of information on our website, testimonials and videos. But essentially in Year 9, every one of our students chooses a challenge, and in one of the terms, either term 1, term 2, term 3 or term 4, and that's called your challenge term. And in that term, you're actually not based on the main campus of Hutchins. You're based about 10 minutes away down near our yacht club. So we have another little sub-campus that's called Murrayville Esplanade. And the challenges are, there's 2 which are Tasmanian based, and they're more physical. And first one is called Port Davies, so that's the big bushwalk. And the other one's called the Island Challenge. So the students go somewhere in Tasmania and spend quite a bit of time on the water and doing marine-based activities. And then we have 2 out of Tasmania. So one goes to Central Australia and works with our Indigenous culture, and then the other one goes to Fiji and works with a local school and local culture. So the students choose one of those. So some students you want to take themselves out of their comfort zone and have the more physical experience. Others want to have that more cultural experience.
We're similar. We do ours at the end of each term. So in 4 terms, they will do a challenge at the end of each term. Just a little bit of a different structure, but very similar.
I just wonder, do students struggle when they're choosing what to do every single term when they have to decide?
Yeah, the students
hard to
struggle.
decide.
So even the parents struggle. Some of the parents want to come on our challenges as well.
We have had parents say, please, can I come? It's like, no, sorry. It's for the students.
Right. So we touched on the curriculum part of this side when allowing students to develop themselves. And how about what's like studying the education, the academic side in both schools?
Yeah, so I suppose, as we said, both of our schools are among Australia's best. Academically listed. We have small class sizes, which is personalised learning, which means that our teachers know our students and they put forward, like for our international students, we would have a profile sheet where their learning needs are met. So we make sure that we have an EALD program at both schools. Our students in Year 10 study together. English as a second language, so we do that. We have fewer international students, which means there's greater immersion and cultural integration for both schools. So did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, no, I just think the thing I think, Jade, is it's different, particularly when you start off as an international student, because we do have a lot of small group work and a lot of interaction between teachers and students, and that does take a little while to adjust to, but I think once the international students do adjust to that, I think they thrive, and that's when they really grow as people and their independence as well. So it is different, but I think we're lucky with our class sizes, which often are 20, 21, 22 in those senior years. We did lots of elective subject choices as well.
And I guess the challenges for international students, especially when they first left home to new foreign places, and maybe English is not the mother language. So that kind of struggle when they try to immerse into the lessons, and having that EL support that you offer in school is quite important, because kind of like build up the academic English as well as the daily use. Like it's a bit different, the English languages that we use, but it's just so important having that support to help students settle in the classroom and
And
also
one-
in the boarding house as
One
well.
of the things that we both do now that we've recognised is when our international students start, that it's we work with them to understand what do words mean, like what's an assignment, what's a paragraph, what's an essay. So we break down the terminology of learning in our schools, an Australian school, to be able to understand what it's meant. So we spend quite a bit of time when they first start to really work through those things and to work through how to navigate the simple things that our students, our current students, take for granted.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really
A lot
important
of
part.
subject-specific vocabulary
Yeah.
as well,
Yeah.
because half the time that's when meaning is lost.
Yeah.
And I think going back to your comment, Jade, I think the big thing for both of our schools is how we support our international students, and I think it starts the moment we meet the family. Getting to know the family, getting to know the student, telling the student about what it is like at our school, showing them videos and other pieces of information, and then we go through a process and then they arrive. That's obviously equally as important. So a tour of the school, tour of the boarding house, buddied up with students in the boarding house and in the day school, so they've got that connection. And then there's a lot of support which happens. So Deb mentioned the EALD. We have language support in class, and then we have language support in our boarding houses as well. So when they're doing their prep time, their homework time, they've got someone to help them unpack that vocabulary. So that's really, really, really important, obviously, for all of the students. And then they can have relationships with our school counsellors. And then the important part for us, obviously, is their wellbeing. So whether that's in the boarding house with our head of boarding and our other staff in the boarding house, and in the day school we have mentor relationships. So a mentor is a teacher of a subject for that student, and their job is to oversee the pastoral care and the well-being. So there's that holistic view of making sure we're looking after the international students.
It is quite important having that kind of inclusion. As an international student, sometimes being in boarding house, sometimes feel excluded from the local student and the local community in a way, like because you're an international student, your borders is that having that kind of label on yourself. But having a counselor in the school, what you just mentioned, is they're looked after in boarding house as well as the same as in the day, while they're in school. So that's quite important for international students settling. That's quite
And that's the beauty, I think, too, of being in a boarding house as opposed to homestay. So boarding house, we feel, is a really good model because they are in the school, they get to be known by the boarding house supervisors, obviously. They've got friends there in the boarding house and they've got that structure, whereas homestay, I think they have to integrate not only into a school, but into a new home. Yeah.
And the thing I'd say as well is because of our lower numbers of international students and the relative comparison between locals and internationals, there is that connection. And even though those numbers we've mentioned about our international students in the boarding house, that's not reflective of the amount of international students in our school, which would probably sit about 10% of our school populations would be international, but a lot of those families have obviously moved to Hobart and are living there as well.
right. So that's quite important, having that kind of close community. I guess is quite critical for international students to settle in.
And we also try and really make sure that our international students are able to have connections outside the school through clubs and other sporting or music opportunities as well. So it doesn't have to just be that school-based connection.
And both schools have a collaboration, and you do have like a boarding program, like you could
Yeah,
just change
so-
like fully.
Yes.
So
Holiday, right?
on the weekend, our local students usually go home during the weekend. So it means our international students are there. We do things together. So they'll either go to Hutchins for dinner, or they'll come to us, and then we potentially do things during the day. But in the holiday time, which is the April holiday and September holiday, we have a holiday boarding program for both schools, and students usually go home in July, at the middle of the year and the end of the year.
Having said that, have you mentioned how far apart, like the distance, or how far is both school?
Well, if it's Deb driving, it's about 10 minutes. If it's me driving, it's about 5 minutes. Yeah, it's about a 5-minute bus ride. And then there's buses.
Yes,
when we
to
have
and
that
from.
shared those shared classes in 10, 11, 12, there's buses that go between our schools all day to do that drop off and pick up.
Right. So senior students are allowed to choose elective like courses at both schools.
Yes, that's right. So two main avenues there, Jade. Firstly, if a student wants to do this, a subject which is on the same subject line, let's say you want to do maths, methods and biology, but they happen to fall on the same subject line at our schools, then you'll be able to do the other subject at the alternate school. So you might do maths methods at Hutchins and you might do biology at Collegiate, and then both schools offer some subjects that the other school doesn't offer. And so some of our students choose subjects at the alternate school because it's not offered at our school. So in effect we're really lucky because it opens up a whole range of additional subject choices.
Yeah, and also parents sometimes will think about, well, single-sex school, is my child just going to be in that same environment? Like, how about the social skills, how going to develop? But having that kind of joint program, but actually allows and opens the opportunity for students to develop their social skills and life
We
skills.
think it works very well.
Yeah.
We feel it's the best of both worlds. The two schools working together.
That's right.
Yes.
So we've got it at school, weekends and in the holiday program as well. And we find that the international boarders from our schools develop really good friendships and are often catching up with each other on the weekend as well socially.
Right. So we mentioned about the academic support for international students and the curricula. So what about how the school prepare after senior high school? Like, how do they prepare for university, I should say?
We both have an educational counsellor at our school that meets with us, the students from year 10, 11 and 12. Each year they meet to help them guide and choose their subjects. And then when they work with them to help do university applications, and it may mean they're going to University of Tasmania, or they may decide that they want to go to a university in Sydney or or Melbourne or Perth. So the educational counsellor works with the student with that.
Yeah, so compulsory interviews in year 10, 11 and 12, just touching base. Some students don't really know what they want to do, and then a lot of students really do know what they want to do. So I want to do architecture, that's great, and I would like to look at Melbourne, great. These are the universities and these are the ATAR scores that you need. These are the accommodations, and both of our schools, on a weekly basis have someone visiting us to talk to the students about careers, accommodations, what they can expect. So just to help them in that planning after school as well.
Right. And speaking of University of Tasmania, just right next to your school, quite close. Is there any collaboration between both school and with the local universities?
Yes, we do have some subjects that our students can do. If they're high achievers, they go through the high achiever program.
Right.
Yep.
And we do visits as well because it's proximal to both of our schools, so we're taking the students there to show them the environment. And that's probably a good time to chat about where our students go. They go pretty much everywhere. Some go to stay at the University of Tasmania, others choose, top 6 universities in Australia and around the world, and so they effectively can go everywhere, and that's the great part. I think it's just an opportunity for them to follow their dreams.
And I think something that's very important about studying in Tasmania is that we're considered regional, which means with the ATAR, so if you want to go to a university, say in Melbourne, and you want to study architecture and maybe you don't get enough ATAR points, it means that you can get up to 2 to 4 added ATAR points to your ATAR because we're considered regional. Depends on the university.
Right.
We also have the school recommendation program, which means that if you wanted to study architecture and you didn't get enough points and you were going to go to University of Tasmania, we could say to the University of Tasmania, we believe this student warrants a place to study architecture, and they will take that recommendation and they'll be able to study that subject. The only one that is probably difficult is medicine.
And that's something that's really come out of COVID,
Yes.
when students and their journeys were affected, and it's something which has stayed, which is fantastic because the universities are now not solely just looking at that number at the end of year 12, they're looking at study habits, they're looking at passions, they're looking at that student and their character, and they're going from there, which is a really, really great step.
Right. So I guess this is the advantage being in studying in the region or Tasmania.
Absolutely,
In the region as well. Especially
Apart from being a beautiful place to study and amazing schools, you have that added bonus.
Okay. and speaking of the recommendation letter and also that kind of characteristic and personality shows from how the curriculum and through the curriculum how the students develop and the school really understand the student who they are and what their passion is and their characteristics and the elements that require for university. And the school, as I said, like knows the student really well because it sounds really a close community and
because they're not large schools, we're not, you know, we don't have thousands of students, which means that we are able to have very personalised programs.
I think the connections as well with the mentor, with our staff and teachers who they're with for 4 years in the senior school from years 9 to 12. So I think then our staff can easily recommend that student and who they are.
So if any student want to study in Tasmania, any advice for them? Or some of them, will think about, Tasmania is too far away. How would you comment on this? How would you convince students to choose, apart from the things that we
that it's not too far away at all?
It's a really common misconception about Tasmania that we're this island in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there's regular flights from Melbourne and Sydney every day. It's 50 minutes from Melbourne and 1.5 hours from Sydney, and then when you arrive at the airport it's a 10-minute to 15-minute drive to our schools. So sometimes you can be in Hobart at our schools quicker than you can in some of the other cities of Australia. And the schools there, so it's not very far away at all.
And we always meet the student at the airport, always greet them there when they arrive or return from being back home.
Yeah, I guess it's like 10 minutes. That's
10
really
minutes.
close to the
And there's no traffic jams at Hobart either day. Traffic flows really nicely again.
Majority of the time.
I think, I mean, you're talking about advice for our students as well. I think the big thing for both of our schools is having some time in the school prior to those serious academic years of year 11 and 12, so you can integrate, you can get used to the different way of teaching, make friends and connections, get used to life in the boarding house structures and programs that we offer. So I love to see students coming in year 9 and year 10, term 3 at the latest really, so they've got some time to actually find their feet and get ready for years 11 and 12.
Really important.
Yeah, especially I guess like the subjects options available in Tasmania, and it's quite different to Hong Kong education system. So it's always good to have that kind of like 2-3 years to have taste about what you really enjoy doing it and choosing the right elective.
That's right, and it allows our careers counsellor to work with the students, allows them to understand that subject-specific vocabulary that we touched on before. So time is important, I think.
Yeah, right. Anything to add on that?
No, I don't think so, but just give, don't rule out Tasmania. Amazing place. We have amazing schools.
I think, Jade, it's probably important for your families to understand the process of how we go about an enrolment at our schools, because it's somewhat different from some other schools. So we always start with an expression of interest form, which is available obviously on our websites. We don't require AEAS or other compulsory testing. We have our own testing that we like to do with the students. Sure, if a student comes with AEAS, that's fantastic. I think the biggest thing for both of our schools is the interview with the student and the family, because what we're really looking for is a connection. Is that student going to connect, whether that's in music or through sports or through one of our other co-curricular opportunities, or how they're passionate about one of the academic areas. So that's the really big thing for us. And then yes, we go down a journey of obviously, yes, we'd like that student to start, we issue the offer letter, and then we go through the process and then we go through that support process that I mentioned earlier.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for joining
Pleasure.
us today.
It's been lovely.
Thank you. And if any of our audience are interested in studying in Tasmania, especially the Hutchins School and St. Michael Collegiate, feel free to contact us, and we will see you in the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.